Hi, I'm Maxim from Versa, and in this video we will talk about uCPE or Unified CPE function within Versa solution. Before we begin, let's define what is actually uCPE. So, Universal CPE is a platform that integrates multiple VNFs inside single physical device. That means instead of installing many different hardware appliances, we can deploy a single device in a branch or office premises and install any type of networking function as a software, so-called VNF. This allows us to optimize space in a rack, save costs on hardware, save time with delivery and installation, or in other words, it reduces both CapEx and OpEx while preserving all required network and security functions, bringing flexibility and agility benefits. Let's go ahead and check Versa uCPE implementation. So, Versa leverage KVM-based solution in order to run a third-party VMs or software. Versa certified hardware along with Versa OS is optimized for uCPE performance in order to deliver all network and security functions in a virtual service chain that can flexibly be configured accordingly to your WAN edge architecture. You will be able to manage, configure, and monitor all deployed VNFs from a single UI that is used to manage your SD-WAN infrastructure. And that is nice, but what else? Let's explore a bit more. So in addition, with Versa uCPE function, it will not limit you with a standard on-prem network or security function that often offered as a part of standard digital transformation strategy. Just think about use case. You can install literally any third-party software that supports virtualization in order to optimize your overall branch design. For example, IoT. We need various management tools for that, right? Private 5G deployment, on-prem monitoring agents, and even host OS installations such as Linux or Windows, which will allow you to deploy any of your business application on top of it. I would say the power of uCPE has no borders. When you look broader at your setup and analyze your business needs, it gives you really a big power. And again, installation time, management effort, flexibility for literally any use case becomes a free of charge bonus for you. Does it sound cool? Okay, let's go ahead and check how intricate technology can appear to be simple with Versa. Let me go to my director UI. So I'm logged into my Versa director. And in order to deploy uCPE, first of all, we need to create a vendor catalog, which is located under Administration, Inventory, uCPE, and Vendor Catalog. We click plus, and in this case, I can create any VM that I want. So I have Palo Alto VM in this case. So I will select vendor Palo Alto. It can be Windows, it can be Linux, it can be any vendor that you prefer. So in my case, it's a Palo Alto. And then by default, Versa has already some pre-configured product, but I can create my own clicking Manage Products and click plus. I can give it a name like my NGFW Palo Alto, and service function is next generation firewall. And then I need to allocate amount of memory, CPU, and disk space accordingly to requirements of VM. So in my case, it's 8 gig of RAM, 4 CPU, and disk size, it can be about 80 gigs or even 60 gigs will be enough in my case. So I click OK. This way I created a new product and I can now select it. I can also check what product is pre-configured by default. Click OK and select my new product. Next, I need to upload my QCOE2 format. We also support supports row, VMDK, and VDI. So in this case, I have QCode2. I choose a file and I select my VM, click on open and OK. So that's it. In this case, I will directly upload my image of Palo Alto Firewall to the Versa director. So once vendor catalog is created, next step is to go to a workflow, template, and create a new service chain template. We click add and give it a name. For example, Palo Alto CP. And I select my organization. Device that I have, CSG 770 in this case, it already shows me how much resources I have and how much resources I would like to allocate to my VM. So in this case, I would like to get 4 CPU, which is a dedicated CPU, and 8 gig of memory. Continue. Here I see my Palo Alto VM and I just drag and drop it to my shared service template. Continue. I select in which VRF my interfaces will be connected and there is no VLAN ID. So I put 0 plus and create. Once service chain service template is created, I need to associate this with my device group. For that, I go to configuration devices, device groups, and I select a device group where I want to allocate my service template. Here I click edit and plus to add a new service template. Select my tenant, category, it's a service chain and my template. OK, OK, and OK. So the next step is to update my bind data for uCPE. For that, I go in Workflows, Devices, and I open my device. And I need to go to a Bind Data tab. And here under Service Templates, I will have my uCPE service template where I need to provide a bind data value. As we can see, we have 3 interfaces here. It's our Palo Alto LAN site, our Palo Alto WAN site, and management. This is by default what we will get from the workflow. We can also adjust these all interfaces flexibly. We can add more or we can remove interfaces as necessary. We can also change routing instance of Versa where these interfaces are connected. By default, management interface is connected in a control VR so that you can manage your uCPE device or your VM from director monitor tab. And LAN and WAN interfaces, they're located in a LAN VRF accordingly to your service chain template that was created. Okay, so I will put 192.168.11.1/24 for LAN site and 192.168.12.1/24 for the WAN site. And my management address should be 192.168.23.23/24 in this case. And DHCP for management pool, it will be 192.168.23.24 to 192.168.23.28 in my case. Then I click next and redeploy. The last step before we can commit our device is to make sure the device is uCPE enabled. So I go to my device CLI, and the command to enable uCPE is request system hypervisor enable no confirm. I hit enter and system gives me that hypervisor is already enabled. This means that I can go ahead and commit my template. In order to commit a template, I hit commit template, select my organization, template, my template, click on fetch devices, select my device, review where I want to publish my changes and commit. Okay. Commit is successful. Once commit is completed, in order to verify our VM, we go to our device and we click on a monitor tab. And monitor tab will have guest VNF. I click on guest VNF where I can see my guest VNF. So I can shut it down. I can reboot VM. I can monitor my ingress egress interfaces. I can see my management IP, my interfaces. So in this case, if I click on console, I can get console access. If director has a route to this management IP address, then we can also do an SSH or HTTPS access. So this is SSH and this is HTTPS access. And this one a console, right? So all options are there. And lastly, to see analytical data, we can go to our analytics platform. Under analytics section, and under dashboard, system, guest VNF. When it will collect our information, we can see our health monitoring, CPU load, memory, disk load, availability, and so on and so forth. Also under the logs and guest VNF, we can see different events with this virtual machine. And lastly, as I said, we can move around our networks accordingly. To do that change under configuration template, service templates, we can click to see all the detailed configuration about our service template for uCPE. Under the networks, we have our uCPE management network and LAN and WAN with its own interfaces accordingly. So by default, in a Versa context, as I said, we have control VR and LAN VR. What that means? So our VM, it has interface LAN and WAN that is by default connected with the LAN VR. So this is LAN interface and this is the WAN interface. And we also have this management interface, which is connected with the control VRF. So if you have your orchestrator or some element manager, which is a centralized manager of your virtual machine, in this case Palo Alto, and you want to manage this VM using your orchestrator, it should be reachable from the control network here. And control network is connected to the Versa controller and Versa director, right? So your manager should be connected in the same network of Palo Alto. If it is not, then what you can do, you can move your management interface from a control network to a LAN network, and then your centralized manager should be able to access this IP address in the LAN VR. In order to do that, you can click on Virtual Routers and open Versa Control VR. Remove your management interface from here. So you select your management interface, click Remove, click OK. And then you have an option to add this management interface in your LAN VRF by clicking plus and selecting your uCPE management interface. So Versa provide you this flexibility. This will conclude our video about uCPE deployment. I hope that was informative for you and thank you for watching.